Hey guys. Um, so I want to see about just mentioning it as far as people dealing with narcissists. Okay, guys dealing with narcissists. Yes, there could be women dealing with it, but I don't know if I had three relationships that were women that were narcissists. If I added in there and I mentioned her, Jillian Misborg, she identifies as a narcissist. Could add that in there too. Uh, it's somebody has being having abusive relationships. Okay, so this isn't like I'm trying to think how do I want to get into this. I had Dylan took part in a group attack towards me where I ended up in a head tick, with a head tick. Sorry, she ended up dumping on me at the end of having. There was like five people that went at me. One of which was a narcissist that lives in Souk, BC. I already mentioned her name, Elise Renouve. I had two women that I dated in my 20s. They're both narcissists, and I ended up having soul loss from one of them. Uh, Literally, I can't even describe. It's just I can't even imagine being someone that is to that fucking point of wanting to go and do how do you describe it? The level of shit that a narcissist has done to people that are empaths. Okay, they normally like to go for empaths, and I guess what I'm saying is they go for people that they know are good people. They do. They go for people they know are good people. You would see people like, oh my god, that's a good person, or you can see the light in them, and you're seeing all this sort of stuff. They have a lot going for them, or a lot to offer, all this sort of stuff. And what does the narcissist see? They go, oh, you want to help? Oh, really? Oh, look at like the light in you, or oh, you want to help me? And then they kind of do it. Well, what can I get from this person? How can I use this person? And then if they're throwing in the sexual stuff, this is I coached a girl, okay, who actually, I actually had this, and I'll tell you right now, as I'm doing this, Joe Misborg's trying to actually connect, cut cords with her, and cut cords with Elise for now. Yeah, okay. So, and scramble the frequency. There was a girl I coached, and I had to say to her because she had an ex. There was a narc, and I had to say, look, the sex with a narcissist, yes, it might be like, whoa, this look at this sex, okay. How do I even say this? Them using that, okay, or trying to find ways to do one of these to get at you and stay at you. So they're trying to abuse somebody, and then they're trying to still keep some access in some way, shape, or form. You have to cut them out. Cut all the cords, cancel all contract agreements with them. So I do that with any narcissist in my life. Do not leave some sort of. You can't leave anything there for them to attach to you again, okay? And even if they're like, oh, but the sex, guys, I said this to the woman I coach. It doesn't matter if you're like, but the sex is whatever. You can find somebody who is not abusive, who's a better person, better woman. And I'm seeing that right now. It's markers. Cut the cords. Jillian, as I'm talking, is trying to put markers there and project her image at me. Yeah, trying to mess around. Yeah. Uh, trying to mess around, trying to yeah, to throw this. Okay, so I had so the first one I had, it ended up being dated for 3.5 years, and she looked like. Here's the thing, I've even heard women that have. There's a couple women that are teaching spirituality out of the states, and so it's interesting because some of them wanted me to mention size of women because they were pouring their own sort of their own their own toxic shit they were doing. But she was tiny, okay? I'm mentioning that, so I'm like 6'1". Oh, sorry, 6 foot, not 6'1". And this girl was how tall was she? Maybe like up to about here on me, okay? Roughly, but tiny build, okay? So you thought, oh, she's cute and this and that, and people would see her. This is what's fucked. You could see her and look almost like, oh, she's cute, she's this, whatever. She was extremely toxic, and it was 3.5 years of having abusive shit towards me. To the point, I brought her flowers. I remember when I brought her flowers, I on her graduation for university. How she spoke to me, and somebody saw it. There was a girl that I thought was going to punch her. I thought this girl was going to punch her. I thought she was going to hit her. The look on her, she turned and I had flowers for her. And it was like, you're talking to that guy, like, saw how I was being with her. And then, like, hey, I brought you flowers, all this. And how she spoke, the look on her face was like, I'm going to hit this girl. You should have seen her. You should have seen it. I was like, holy crap. It was 3.5 years of like being like toxic, but she would do things like be very toxic in your face and then turn around and go, no, you can't get angry at me, you love me, and talk baby talk in your face after just really being toxic and abusive, and even come up and kissing you and doing like little low kisses and alternating that with you and being very abusive, like really fucking, you're like, oh my god, you'd get up and walk away from her, get up and walk away from, like, really toxic. Okay, so that's 3.5 years. Second one, and yeah, the second one there, I ended up having soul loss from, where it was actually Jillian who said she tried to, just the level of shit she pulled towards me was because of my light. She said, like, the level of light I have, that for no reason she just turned around and pulled abuse at me. She said I treated her and her daughter like gold, and all this sort of stuff. She turned around, and at the time, yeah, I remember I got into energy healing after the fact, but what ended up happening, I already had a video describing some of this, okay? So I ended up having soul loss. So then I had to heal from all the stuff with soul loss. I used to teach that on YouTube. And I went to see an energy healer. And I remember when she removed stuff from this person, from her, and we could both feel that her soul was angry. Her soul was angry that she wasn't going to get to keep abusing me. I know spiritual abuse. I don't know if I'm going to get into the exact details of everything I had to deal with, but it is so fucking insane that you could literally be a good man, treat someone extremely well, treat their daughter extremely well, and then turn around, like we talked about having kids, marriage, all this sort of stuff, and having a career, doing well, everything's just going up, all that sort of stuff, and for no reason other than my light, she turned around and started doing abuse at me, and it was, yeah, mainly spiritual. And I was like, well, yeah, it was just a lot of abuse. And I was like, what the fuck? Find out after soul loss. And then learned, I had my spiritual awakening, all this sort of stuff. And I mean, it's just, it is so fucking crazy that there's men that are good men that are genuine, like, you have it that there's this whole thing of just, you're actually being very, how to describe it, you're being a good man, okay? So, how's the woman getting treated? Oh, she's getting treated great. Telling you you're treating her like gold, treating her kid like gold. Well, what did she do? She turned around for no reason and fucking abused you. Yeah, that first one I mentioned, she got treated very well. Yeah, what happened? It was abusive. Yeah. This right here is markers, cut the cords, give that to God, from Vancouver. Yep. Remove all that, and same with the one in Souk. Same with Joan Misborg. So that is actually trying to connect right now to Joan Misborg, and then the one in Souk, Elise. The Elise Renouf, the one who I've referred to as a pig, who I have every right to, considering I literally went through a head tick from abuse she had put, went through the level of shit I went through. So the third one would be that one I just mentioned, who I already mentioned it in a video today. Actually, my sister used to work with her and went on about how, she's complaining about this postpartum depression, all this sort of stuff. So all these, yeah. And you're kind of like, okay, I could help with energy healing, all this stuff. Turns around, tries to do witchcraft and attacks, all this sort of stuff for no reason too, okay? For no fucking reason. Just starts to try to do that sort of stuff, and took runs at my bumper in my car, out in Souk potholes. And then when I moved when I moved off of Vancouver Island, still pulled stuff, then got other people involved, and then there was group attacks, had stuff happening from my family, all this sort of stuff. I was like, oh my fuck god, and the biggest piece of shit I've ever come across in my fucking life is who she turned out to be. Offered her kid up to be raped 4 times, wanted to suspend from hooks in her back with like BDS, all that sort of stuff. Like that stuff she actually wanted, abused past men. Found out she gave herself postpartum depression, all sorts of stuff. I was like, oh my God. And there's a point, like, I saw it when she faked, like, fake. I've seen mass drop with Jillian. I've seen mass drop, like, I've seen stuff drop, shift there. I've seen stuff with that one. I saw that with the second one. And I don't know if we'll get into it, but I remember I told this actually to a soul family member of mine. We had a good talk about it because she had narc abuse. So I was having it that, yeah, at the time, this one at the time, she says, well, why can't we be together? And she's laying in bed with me and she's almost acting like she's crying. And this was like yeah. And I remember I looked at her and I could tell she was faking. And I saw it and I went, oh my God. And then when I didn't react, she dropped, it all shifted, and all of a sudden I saw who she was, and it went, oh my God, that's all fake tears. She's lying. It's all fake, that what she was doing with that. And she was laying there acting like that, and then all of a sudden there's just this anger of just like, holy fuck, that's who she is. Holy shit, like it was all fake. It was fake what she just put on. And it was just like, oh God, oh God. And it's fucking, yeah. So, I mean, I guess it's one of those things of, you can have it where they're really trying to, especially if you're a guy, okay? If they're doing the stuff with like wanting to have something towards you with, trying to rope you in, okay, with how they're looking or something with that, okay? You have to cut them out of your life. You have to cut them out. It's not worth it. It's not worth it to have, like I said, soul loss or trauma or something. Like, there's some of these people are so fucking, they are so fucking toxic, the level of what a narcissist will be like. They will just go, oh yeah, you'll tolerate that? Oh, try more. Tolerate that? Try more. Oh yeah, you want to help? What else? Oh yeah, you want to help more? And while you're helping them, it's like abuse. Or they could really get a love towards you. And then a little bit of abuse is in there. And then a little less love, a little more abuse. A little less love, more abuse. Until the next you know, the person's full on just being abused. And then if it keeps going, it could have some sort of thing. It could be trauma, any of that sort of stuff. And you're like, what the fuck? And you hear stuff like this, you're like, oh, well, and people might go, well, did the person, I'll say an empath, did they do something towards that? And a lot of times it's like they were just being like, they didn't necessarily do anything to deserve it. The person just started to push abuse. And you're like, what the fuck? And a lot of time you'll hear it like, oh, the first one, she was molested. The second one had a restraining order against her husband and told me the whole story. Like, each one of them would tell me these stories. And then the third one got molested and all this sort of stuff. And it just, Jillian had her own thing with her health at one point, all these different things. And then the empath, being a good person, and you're just like, oh yeah, you could help, or like those sort of feeling of being like kind and giving, okay? And they literally just, they don't care. They don't care. They are very much about an empath is like, how can I help? That sort of thing, like a kind, giving person. And then the narc is about more of the how can I just, what can I get, this sort of thing, trying to harm. Yeah, it's not, yeah, that's the sort of thing you see. And I mean, it's disgusting. And like, if I went into, maybe on a podcast at some point, I'll go into a little more detail about certain things, but I used to teach on YouTube about some of it. I told my story about the one. But what was nuts is, like, the first one, if you saw her out around certain people, you would think it's like a tiny, like, she maybe looks cute. And then you'd listen more and you're like, oh God, what'd she just say? And then, well, she throws certain things in there like, oh. And then next thing you know, oh, someone might catch certain things, how she was talking, when she thought other people weren't listening. And you're kind of like, okay, what did she just say there? Oh, how's she acting when other people weren't around towards you? And next thing you know, like, really the verbal abuse, that sort of crap. And then trying to follow it up right away with, oh, you know, like I said, oh, you love me, here, you can't get angry at me. And then try to like do little kisses at you, or like trying to do baby talk and get you laughing. So even there, what happened with when I started to almost smirk and that sort of thing, Jillian was trying to get me laughing there, and she herself, okay, during COVID, there was a bunch I could talk about with her, but she had it where she was trying to do like dark witchcraft crap at me after I'd already gone through abuse, all this sort of stuff. And I remember how I was feeling, and then all of a sudden, right when she saw, I was like, "Oh my god!" Like how shitty I was feeling in general. Of just I was processing so much trauma. I had family members that died, like relatives that had died, all this level of stuff, and we needed to catch like the level of shit I was going through, spiritual warfare. And then it's like somebody just kind of went flip, and they went, "Oh, Corin, you okay?" And like after just pulling a bunch of like abusive shit towards me, and then I literally walked into a church because of how bad I was feeling, and literally just like she tried to project herself beside my bed and went, "You want one of my tits?" That's what she said psychically after I took a sleeping pill to try and sleep while going through spiritual warfare. And mine was sitting there now, marker, cut the cords, cancel contract agreements, files with John. So some of them like doing, if they're doing spiritual abuse, mental, emotional, if there's sexual, if there's anything in there, like none of it was physical abuse with any of them, okay? But I literally have like, this is the fucked part, okay? So I had this. Jillian tried to look up abuse that I had been through, okay? She tried to look that up. You know who else who tried to look into that? Chelsea Smith, Shore Park, Brian Jacobs' wife. Jacqueline Mulick was also involved in this. They tried to create a fake obituary around an ex of mine, which was the second one. They tried to be involved in that. So there was a fake one made up about her. And I was like, you gotta be fucking kidding me. So imagine that, going through soul loss and then having people through spiritual warfare who are supposed to pretend to be, say, good people, whatever you want to say. I believe Chelsea actually is supposed to be an empath, and then turn around and use narc abuse against you. Who else has used this against me? Steve Hardison has used this. Gabrielle Bernstein has used this. Mary Folio has used this. They had Mel Robbins post some stuff. They had actually had different people throwing stuff about gaslighting at me, mentioning gaslighting or stuff around gaslighting. And gaslighting is one of the main things that people know an ARC will do, where they will try to say something and go, "What are you talking about? Like it's you. What are you talking about?" And they'll do this sort of thing. They'll try to say something to deny what you're saying. You're literally going, "What are you doing? This is abuse. Why are you acting?" And the person will go, "No, what are you talking about?" And they're literally trying to. It's based off of a movie, okay? So in the movie, there was a gas light, and a guy would go by and turn the light down, and his wife would go, "Do you keep turning this down? What's going on with this light?" He goes, "No, what are you talking about? What are you talking about? No?" Till eventually the person will start to like question, like, what do you mean? Is this, what do you mean? It's not being turned down? What's going on? Yeah, abusing. It's so abusive. So what narcs would do? They would deny what the person's saying and turn it around and make it look like something was wrong with them, with the person. Okay? So the person's getting abused, and they would go deny, like, "No, what are you talking about? No." So one of them she literally said she doesn't lie. She said she didn't lie. That was the second one. She's like, "No, I don't lie." And threw in different things in there. And after the fact, I'm like, what the fuck? Oh yeah, the level of stuff. And I mean, the stuff that would come out, and each of them had their own thing as far as like I said, the first one had been molested. The second one had a husband that threatened to kill her, had a restraining order. Third one had been molested. Jillian had her own stuff with like health stuff. Or I know a big one for Jillian. I already said oh yeah, she's an herbalist, this and that. And then it's like, she's a drug dealer. She's actually a drug dealer. She sells pounds of drugs. It's not just a little thing. And you'd find that in each of them, they'd all have this sort of stuff. Like, actually this, and you're kind of like, holy crap. Or like the level of like victimhood that a narcissist can have. And I posted that today. I haven't posted yet, before that. Jillian identifies as a narcissist. I've never fully called her one. I feel she just about is one. But for her behavior and things I've seen, it's like, holy shit. Like, it's up there. And a narcissist. So like, I found out about this from an old friend I had that worked with like mental health stuff, where she worked in that industry, okay? And when I was trying to explain to her what happened with that second one, I was like, what the fuck? Like, oh my God. And she goes, I feel like you dealt with, that's a narcissist. And I kind of went, what the fuck? Like, what is it? And then she handed me a book. Read the book, and there it is. It's saying narcissists, sociopaths, psychopaths. They're all up there. And I'm kind of like, holy shit. And the more I started reading it, I was like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. What the hell? What the hell? And then later I found out I had soul loss, all this sort of stuff directly related to that narc. So literally, so I'm saying this. So what ended up happening? You know what Chelsea Smith, Brandon Jacobs, his wife, some of those people had done, and Julian Wisborg was in on some of this too. And I believe even Elise Renouf, as spiritual warfare towards me, they tried to find out certain things I went through, and then they tried to push some of it. So I woke up to having some of them try to, quote, mimic soul loss towards me to try to scare me. So I woke up, they tried to mimic something about some sort of like thing towards me, and I woke up and they were trying to mimic that at me. Brandon and his friends have been trying to put imprints towards me to push, to hope to attract harm. Jillian, after in the middle of pushing something abusive towards me, ran up and tried to kiss me psychically right after the same sort of thing Jeannie would have done. Sorry, that was the first one. Like psychically went to do that. This was like directly after, and I was like, you gotta be kidding me. Like I was like, oh my God, that's too, this was, yeah, it was like somebody actually pushing abuse at you, and then right after they turn around and they're trying to kiss you, and to do that in a way of like it being toxic, and you're just like, oh my God. But yeah, imprints, tried to throw imprints, and I even heard, what's that doing to him? What's that doing to him? You know who that is? That's Chelsea Smith, Gabby Bernstein. Sorry, not Gabby Bernstein, sorry. That's Chelsea Smith. That's Brandon Jacobs, that's his wife. And also in Ontario, Joan Wisborg with stuff. We've actually tried to find, literally, what did he go through with those past ones? Jillian posted a picture of herself trying to look like the first one. She used intention. Jacqueline Mulek, Sher Park, posted herself trying to look like the third one. The second one. Yeah. So, yeah. And then I have actually, and as far as narc abuse online, I already said Steve Hardison took part, and so did Gab Bernstein, actually having posts made where there was things being posted as far as names of people that took part in abuse towards me with that narc and souk, so it was still narc abuse. Yeah. So using that towards someone who's been abused by narcissists, I'm an empath, okay? So I'm throwing that in there. They directly use that towards me, and I said in another video, that would be like me finding out the name of the cousin who abused Steve Hardison, who pinned him down and took a chunk off his ear. That would be like me using that at him. That would be like me using the name of someone who molested Gabby Bernstein. I believe she went through childhood abuse with stuff with that. That'd be like me trying to find the name of who did that with her. I believe father. I'd have to double check that one. And posting that at her as some sort of warfare. So I want people that I'll see what I do with what I go from here with this, but people who have dealt with narc abuse, and I have seen the people who normally deal with it are, if you look at the people that dealt with narc abuse, they're all good people. They're all good people. They're all bright. They're all good people. That's one thing you'll notice. Bright, good people. Empath is a very common one. Like, whoa, look at the light in that person. Yeah, look in the light. And this is what's fucked. Even Jillian said, compared me to Heath Ledger with the level of light for me. She said that at one point. And I mean, it's just fucking nuts that you could have somebody that there is, because they won't start with abuse, okay? It could start out being like, well, this person, yeah, thinking they're a good person, and then something happens. So one of the first ones we talked, oh my God, I'm remembering this now. We talked for months, okay? I thought like, okay, yeah, we're going to meet up. We first met up after like 3 months. Go to a party. I find out within a couple minutes, this is our narc thing. She goes, oh, by the way, that she had slept with every single guy in that party. So it's kind of like, how to describe it? There's something there. as far as it could start out like, oh wow, like this interesting or a good person, or a great person, or something about them, and then all of a sudden you go, oh my god, and then the second one tells me certain stuff, and then I hear about the stuff with like her ex-husband, and then I'm kind of like, okay, and at first you feel bad for the person, then you start to see like more of the person, and you're going, what's going on here? And then I said about that third one, about the thing of, oh my god, like want to be suspended from hooks, find out they're doing dark witchcraft, trying to make guys' eyes burn in the past, all this. You're like, oh my god, lied about being raped. She offered her kid up to be raped 4 times. It goes, you're like, oh my god. And then the more you saw it, you're just like, oh god, oh god, oh god. And then as far as Jill in there, I said the thing about the drug dealing and all that, and then the level of like spiritual warfare crap she pulled the past 4 years. I was like, what the hell? Like, I said it. There is a post on her website where she looks, you can see the evil in her. But what's fucked is there's also ones where it flips, and I've seen her do it. She would actually take the darkness in her and tuck it behind her and readjust it. And you could see it psychically, like, is this what you want? Like, would you like this? And then, oh yeah, how about this? And then, like, try to, like, push down, like, literally go, don't show it as far as how you feel, how to describe it. Push it behind her. Push it behind her, and then even intensely wear things that would look brighter to go like, oh look, I look like this is, doesn't it look like more light, that sort of thing. And you're kind of like, but you can feel like the darkness or the shadow there, and you're kind of like, oh man. And I mean, I saw different stuff when like at first, different stuff was there. It's weird. And I mean, it's tough in situations because with some of this, because if you had that we were involved with the person, you have to actually go, hey, you might have emotions towards the person. There's love there, whatever, or you care about it, but then you have to go, holy fuck, they're being abusive. They're pushing, are they trying to harm you? Are they pushing abuse towards you? If you're like, yeah, they are, they clearly are, you have to get rid of them out of your life. Cut the cords, cancel contracts, agreements, vows. Even if there's something sexual going on, even if they're saying they love you, even if there is times where they're showing a lot of love towards you, it doesn't. Here's a huge one. If you're in an abusive relationship, if someone is having an abusive relationship, it doesn't mean it's like every single day the person's abusing you. And another, like, and this whole thing of like, oh my god, yeah. It doesn't mean it could be 1 minute the woman's kissing you and being great. Next minute she's turned around and she's really being abusive, and it could be, yeah, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, who know, all the different ways. So as far as mentally abusive, that, so Jillian took part in stuff around sleep deprivation stuff. She took part in some of that. The one at Souk, Elise, her too, and then people, some narcissists will even have people join in on abuse. Said Paul. So I already mentioned that. Also, Steve Hardison took part in some of that. Gail Bernstein, I believe, took part in that. Activation Vibration in Texas did. Amber Colbert, I said Joan, Chelsea Smith, Brandon Jacobs, his wife, and Jacqueline Mulek. And some of those people named there are not narcissists. So, yeah, from what I know, Brandon is not, his wife's not, Jacqueline Mulek's not, and neither is Chelsea Smith. Steve, I haven't double checked on that one, but different people, like, so some of that's just abuse of people, period. But I'm having to bring it up because they use stuff around this.